bring in Ross Tucker, joins us now. Hi, Ross. What did you think of the Aaron Rodgers video there?
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was amazing. I did not realize that it was Nicolas Cage for Con Air until they showed that and they did the comparison. I just thought he came in trying to look awesome and look like a dude. I didn't know he was trying to imitate Nicolas Cage from Con Air.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody has talked to him about it. Like, did he actually do this on purpose? Because if he didn't, that's amazing. But if he did, that's amazing as well.
Well, the thing that's so interesting to me about it, remember last year, Dan, his whole look, the whole training camp and the first part of the season was designed so that he could look like John Wick at a Halloween party.
Yes.
I mean, Aaron is really into this. Look, more power to him. I don't know how you can be that concerned with your appearance and looking like a Halloween party or your arrival at training camp and still be the two-time MVP, but I guess it's working for him. I guess he's got that perfect balance in life.
Ross Tucker, CBS, Westwood One color analyst, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and also covers the Philadelphia Eagles. Check him out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Where do you want to start? What topic is front and center for you?
I think probably based on my social media, what I've seen, probably the Kyler Murray contract clause, which I heard you guys talk about a lot yesterday. And one thing I haven't heard a lot of people talk a lot about, how about your boy Dan Bill Belichick? Heard you talking with Peter about him the other day, having over a 1 minute unbelievable Mac Jones soliloquy, the likes of which we've never heard before.
But I wonder if I combined everything that he said about Brady in his entire career in New England, was it longer than the 1 minute soliloquy that he paid tribute to Mac Jones with yesterday?
No, it wasn't. And that's what I said on Twitter at Ross Tucker NFL. Patriots fans are so mad at me. They're like, you're a liar. He said there's no quarterback he'd rather have. Watch the video when they did the top 100 players. All I'm saying is, any Patriots fans out there, Seton included, okay? If you can find a clip of Bill Belichick at a press conference being asked a question about Tom Brady and gushing about him for over a minute straight on just a generic question, I would love to see it. I will admit I was wrong. But Dan, I never heard him like that. Now, I don't know if he's just being honest. I don't know if he feels like Mac Jones needs that.
Yeah.
Maybe he feels like the rest of the team needs to hear Bill say that about Mac Jones. Maybe he's just getting softer in his old age. You hear some of the things he says now and does. He definitely, I don't know if he's got grandkids now or what, but he's definitely softened up a little bit. Maybe he didn't think Brady ever needed that. But all I ever heard him say about Brady is, I've said it a million times. There's no quarterback I'd rather have. That's all he would ever say, Dan. It was like 6 seconds. I've said it before. There's no quarterback I'd rather have. He went on and on. I mean, he was like, oh, Mac Jones, he's better at this, and he's this, and he got better. It was very, very interesting to me as a guy that's been around him and been watching him for, last 20 plus years.
But when you were around Belichick, when you played in New England, and granted, it was limited time, but how forthcoming is he in saying something nice, outside of a press conference, just within the team?
Very rarely. Very rarely. In fact, I don't know if we ever talked about this before. I do a lot of speaking engagements, Dan, and the business leaders, they do a Q&A, and they're always like, what kind of leader was Belichick? What makes him so special? And I'm always like, well, I don't know. The start of every day, you watch the 5 worst plays from practice the day before. It's almost 100% negative reinforcement. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't recommend this for your tire business necessarily. I don't want you to come in and tell Phil he did a terrible job on the radial tires, but that's the way Belichick is. I mean, people want to hear the secret sauce. 8 a.m. meeting. It's the 5 worst plays from the day before, and your goal is to not be a part of that. And he will rip anybody He busts your chops. He makes fun of you. Your primary motivation, at least when I was there, Dan, 05 and 06, but I've heard it was still like that fairly recently. You don't want to be on that low light video at the start of the meeting, 8 a.m. every day.
I know you mentioned us talking about what's going on with Kyler Murray. I'm just trying to figure out, who does this benefit by being leaked to the media, unless it's another agent who would have leaked this to Ian Rappaport. I can't imagine Kyler Murray's agent is going to go, hey, got this for you. Can you give me a positive spin on this? It feels like maybe somebody is saying, can you believe that he signed this contract, or his agent agreed to this contract?
I don't think it's a leak. I think there are people, especially with a contract this big, that read all of the terms. If anyone specifically put it out there, I would think it's the Cardinals, because they would know that eventually people are going to read these contracts, right? Because they need to know. It's the second biggest contract on an average per year basis. Maybe the Cardinals put it out there, because the more I think about it, Dan, they're not dumb people. They knew this would get out either soon or eventually, and they did it anyway. They wanted this clause in anyway. So it seems like on some level, I don't know if they're trying to embarrass him, Dan, or put a chip on his shoulder, but they knew this would get out. It's a terrible look for Kyler. I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed a little bit for him that this comes out like this. I think the Cardinals are hoping this is the kick in the rear that he needs to be a more engaged player off the field, because I've heard stuff, I'm sure you have as well. I have heard he is an all-timer when it comes to video games. And these guys are, they're all in their early mid-20s. A lot of the guys like video games, but Kyler Murray takes it to another level from what people have told me. And I think it's a concern. I think it's obviously a concern. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put this in his contract. But Dan, to me, it wouldn't have been independent study. It would be like study with one of our people, with one of our coaches. Or why independent? I mean, independent study. How do you know he's actually doing it? I would have had joint study. It would be mandated joint study with the quarterback coach, after hours or whatever it is.
Yeah, I would have a tutor there without calling it a tutor, but I would just say, the quarterback's coach is going to visit you 1 hour after practice. And then, that way at least that you're getting an hour with the coach that. And I keep saying, what is Cliff Kingsbury's role? Because he kind of shook this off like, hey, it's no big deal, He said, well, he could only stay mad at somebody so long. He's making $250 million. You still didn't answer the question. How did this get to management that he wasn't studying enough for you? So there's more here. It's just people are trying to put their head in the sand like, no, there's nothing to see here. No big deal.
It's not a secret that the Cardinals would like more from him from a leadership and preparation standpoint.
Yeah.
But this is the way it is, man. I mean, Kyler knows that there's 10 teams out there. He's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL all day. There's 10 teams out there, at least 5, that would give him the exact same contract. Kyler knows it. He wanted his money now. I don't blame him. The Cardinals looked around and said, we don't really want to give him this money now. We don't really want to commit to him. We want to see more. But what are other options? Go back to the draft. They don't really have any better options. So this is sort of how they decided to split the baby, so to speak. We'll give him $100 million. We'll have him under contract for 7 years, but we need to have something in writing that he's actually going to take the next step as a leader.
He's Ross Tucker. He works for CBS Westwood One as a color analyst. The situation with the Niners feels tricky because you can't wait to get Jimmy Garoppolo out the door. And you got Trey Lance there, who it's now his job. He's young, he's inexperienced, and this is a Super Bowl, well, I'll say a playoff roster that he inherits here. You got Kyle Shanahan, who normally you're in good hands if Kyle is your head coach or offensive coordinator. So what can go wrong in San Francisco in this situation?
Well, Jimmy's not going to be on the week 1 roster in San Francisco because then his $24 million would be fully guaranteed for the year, and the Niners aren't going to do that. And that's probably the biggest impediment, along with his shoulder, to him getting traded is people don't want to pay Jimmy Garoppolo $24 million this year. Most people don't have $24 million in space right now. So they need to kind of work that out like Baker Mayfield did with the Carolina Panthers to make his contract a little bit more palatable. Plus, in Jimmy's case, the physical is going to be really important. The Niners, they're not even going to have him practice, Dan. They're putting him on ice. The last thing they can have happen is he gets hurt somehow, and they're on the hook for $24 million. Kyle Shanahan says he's not even going to practice. I mean, he's just going to stand there and watch practice and wait until he gets traded. The part of it I think is really interesting is the teams that aren't interested in him, right? What are you saying if you're the Atlanta Falcons or the Seattle Seahawks or any of these teams, Dan, where Jimmy would clearly be much better? You are telling your fans, we are not trying to win games this year because they could get Jimmy. They could get him. So the next question after that is, how do the fans feel about it? The fans of these teams in Atlanta and Seattle, how do you feel that your organization is telling you, hey, like, we're not really trying to win this year. You know, we'll see what happens, but we want to get a high pick next year, or maybe we'll during the year play a young kid and see what happens. But if some of these teams whose quarterback situations are horrible don't try to trade for Jimmy, they're sending a very loud and clear message to their fans.
Tom Brady picks up Julio Jones. They just made it official that they signed him to a one-year deal. What do you think of the move?
No downside. I've seen nothing in terms of the financials, which means he probably went there for peanuts, relatively speaking. And this is part of the value of having Tom Brady. I'm not saying the Bucs are going to win the Super Bowl because Julio Jones is there. All I'm saying is Julio Jones is there because he thinks it's his best chance to win a Super Bowl. You know, Julio's made a ton of money. His stats are crazy. I think he feels like that's the only thing missing and that this is his best chance to get it. They've signed other guys the last 3 years for the exact same reasoning, exact same logic. It's part of the added value that having Brady as your quarterback brings.
Before I let you go, next hour we're going to be picking which playoff team will not be a playoff team this year. Let me start in the AFC. If I said you had to pick Raiders, Bengals, Titans, Patriots, Bills, Steelers, Chiefs, doesn't make the playoffs.
Raiders and Titans are the two that jump out to me.
Over the
Patriots
Steelers?
to a lesser extent. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, Steelers are not making the playoffs.
All right.
If I had, that's a good. You know what's amazing about the Steelers, though? They never, Dan, you know how we were just talking about Seattle and Atlanta, where they're not really trying to win this year. They're kind of in a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember that the Steelers refuse to do that. Like the Steelers, they will not quit on any season. They will not give up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers somehow with Trubisky or Pickett win 9 games and become the 7th seed.
It's been 20 years since they had a losing record.
It's crazy. It's one of the things I respect because everybody always says the worst place you want to be is mediocre. You either need to be really good or really bad. The Steelers refuse to relent. They would never do that to their fan base, and I respect the heck out of them for it.
All right, NFC, Cardinals, Rams, Niners, Packers, Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers. Most likely to miss the playoffs.
I'll go Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah,
I think they're in a bad spot. Plus, their offensive line. I mean, the left guard thought he was retired and lost weight. They had to convince him to come out of retirement. I don't know if the center wanted to retire or wanted more money, but he didn't go to mini camp. And they got the right guard couldn't start for the Giants. I mean, when you watch a Super Bowl highlight video, right, on NFL films, that's not the start of the video. The start of the video is not the one guy thought he was retired, the other guy wanted to, and the other guy can't start for the Giants.
And that's not the video. Don't have DeAndre Hopkins either for the first half of the season.
It's not good. And this, I mean, you've interviewed him. You know, your interview with him when he's coming out for the draft got a lot of attention. This thing with Kyler, Dan, it's only going to go one of two ways. You know, this clause and this contract, he's either going to step up his game or get to the next level, or the heat is going to be such. I mean, what's it going to be like when he goes into these stadiums? I mean, fans are going to be razzing him about this. They're going to have like books and talk about study hall. And it has a chance to be ugly in Arizona. They obviously are taking a big risk here and a big chance that they think it'll go the other way.
Well, you're going to have, video controllers that people are going to bring in.
Well, and not only, Dan, does he have to do 4 hours of independent study, if he doesn't do 6 hours, he's not allowed to go to the dance Friday night or the prom.
Thank you, Ross.
See you, Dan.
That's Ross Tucker, CBS Westwood One color analyst, former offensive lineman.
Nailed that joke on the out.
Yeah.
Patrick loved me.